My name is Sofia Martinez. I'm 35 years old, and I never imagined my life would take such a drastic turn during the 8th month of my pregnancy. My story with Carlos seemed perfect. We met in college, got married after graduation, and both landed good jobs. He is a financial manager at a construction company, and me as an account executive at an advertising agency. We had been married for 10 years when I finally got pregnant after several failed attempts and expensive treatments. It was a miracle. Carlos seemed just as excited as I was at first. Everything changed when his company hired Valeria, a 24-year-old blonde, tall, recently graduated secretary. The kind of woman who makes middle-aged men lose their minds. "She's just my secretary," Carlos would say when I questioned the long hours they spent together at the office. "We're working on a big project." I wanted to believe him. I really did. Even when he started coming home late, even when he began missing my OB appointments, even when his behavior completely changed. "You're just paranoid because of the pregnancy hormones," he'd tell me whenever I voiced my concerns. My only solace was my job. My boss, Mr. Gonzalez, was an older man who ran the agency with a firm but fair hand. He was always supportive, especially during my pregnancy. "Take the time you need, Sofia," he told me when morning sickness made it hard to come in early. "You're one of our best executives." One night, when I was 8 months pregnant, Carlos came home later than usual. His expression was different. "We need to talk," he said, avoiding my gaze. My heart sank. I knew that phrase. Every woman knows that phrase. "Valeria's pregnant." The words dropped like bombs in our living room. "She's 2 months along, and we're going to be together." I just stared at him, unable to process what I was hearing. "You're leaving me when I'm 8 months pregnant." "I'm sorry, Sofia, but it's different with Valeria. She's younger, more exciting. And now that she's pregnant too." "And what about our baby? Your child?" "Of course, I'll take care of him financially. But there's something else." He ran a hand through his hair, a nervous habit of his. "I need you to sell me your share of the house." "What?" "Valeria and I want to live here. It's a good neighborhood to raise kids." I laughed, a hysterical, disbelieving laugh. "You want me to sell you the house so you can live here with your mistress? It's the practical thing to do. I'll give you a good price." I stood up from the couch, my 8-month pregnant belly making the movement harder than it should have been. "Go to hell, Carlos. Don't be irrational, Sofia. Think about the baby. You'll need the money." Then he left, but not before placing some papers on the table, a formal offer to buy my share of the house. That night, I cried until I had no tears left. My baby stirred restlessly, as if feeling my anguish. The next day, I arrived at the office with swollen eyes. Mr. Gonzalez saw me and immediately called me into his office. "What's going on, Sofia?" I told him everything. I don't know why, but I had always felt I could trust him. As I spoke, his expression shifted from concern to something else. Anger. "Carlos works for Constructora del Valle, right?" "Yes." "Why?" Mr. Gonzalez picked up his phone and dialed. "Maria, bring me the DV 2023 file." "Right away." Minutes later, his secretary entered with a thick folder. "Sofia," Mr. Gonzalez said as he opened it, "there's something you need to know about your husband and the company he works for." He laid out several documents on his desk. "Constructora del Valle is under federal investigation for massive fraud," he said, pointing at the papers. "They've been embezzling funds from social housing projects for years." My head was spinning. But what does that have to do with Carlos? "Your husband isn't just a financial manager, Sofia. He's one of the main architects of the fraud." He showed me documents with Carlos's signature, bank transfers, emails. "How do you even have access to this information?" Mr. Gonzalez sighed. "Because, in addition to running this agency, I'm part of a government financial investigation task force. This agency is a front for tracking corrupt companies." My world tilted even more. "So you hired me to spy on Carlos?" "I hired you because you're excellent at your job. Discovering that you were Carlos's wife was a coincidence, one that helped us confirm many suspicions." He stood and walked to the window. "The investigation is almost complete. In 2 weeks, we'll be making mass arrests at Constructora del Valle." "Arrests?" "Yes, and Carlos will be facing serious charges. We're talking 15 to 20 years in prison." I dropped into the chair, instinctively cradling my belly. There's more, Mr. Gonzalez continued. The house Carlos wants you to sell? It was purchased with fraudulent money. No, that's not possible. We saved for years. These documents say otherwise. The down payment came from an offshore account linked to the fraud. Tears started to fall. Why are you telling me all this? Because you need to protect yourself and your baby. If the house is in your name, it could be seized when the arrests happen. What am I supposed to do? Mr. Gonzalez smiled for the first time since the conversation began. As it happens, I have a proposal for you. Just then, his phone rang. He looked at the screen, and his expression changed. It's Carlos, he said, showing me the caller ID. Probably to discuss the latest fraudulent project. With your permission, I'll put him on speaker. We need to document everything. I nodded, feeling a mix of pain and fury. Eduardo Gonzalez answered. Mr. Gonzalez. Carlos's voice was confident, arrogant. I've got the documents for Project Sunrise ready. We adjusted the numbers as discussed. Excellent, Carlos. Why don't you come to my office now? There's something important we need to talk about. Of course. I'll be there in 20 minutes. With Valeria. She's been very helpful with the documentation. Bring her in, said Mr. Gonzalez, looking at me. In fact, why don't you also bring the documents from all the previous projects? It's time to take full inventory. All the documents? Carlos asked. That's right. Is there a problem? No, we'll be there soon. After he hung up, Mr. Gonzalez pressed a button on his phone. Did you record everything? Yes, sir, responded a voice from the intercom. He turned to me. You have two options, Sophia. You can walk out right now and pretend this conversation never happened, or you can stay and witness what's about to go down. What's going to happen? I asked. Justice. At that moment, I noticed several people in dark suits quietly entering the building. Your husband is on his way, Mr. Gonzalez continued, with incriminating evidence, and his mistress. The same mistress who, according to our investigation, has been helping him forge documents. He stepped closer and gently placed a hand on my shoulder. The question is, Sophia, do you want to be part of this? I stayed. 20 minutes later, Carlos and Valeria walked into the agency, carrying boxes of documents. She wore a tight dress that definitely didn't show signs of a 2-month pregnancy. Mr. Gonzalez, Carlos greeted confidently. Then he saw me. Sophia, what are you doing here? She works for me, remember, said Mr. Gonzalez. Please, have a seat. Carlos and Valeria sat down, visibly uneasy with my presence. Before we go over the documents, Mr. Gonzalez said, there's something you both need to know. He pressed a button on his phone. The doors opened, and several federal agents entered the office. Carlos Ramirez, Valeria Mendoza, you are under arrest for federal fraud, embezzlement, and document forgery. Carlos's face went pale. What? This has to be some kind of mistake. There's no mistake, I said, finding a strength I didn't know I had. Everything is documented. You knew about this? Carlos stammered. Not as much as you knew about stealing money meant for low-income housing. Valeria began to cry. Carlos told me it was all legal. He promised we'd be protected. Did he also promise you a baby? I asked. Or was that part of the lie, too? She lowered her eyes, answering me without words. As agents handcuffed Carlos, he made one last desperate move. I can explain. I have information about people higher up. Everything's already recorded, Mr. Ramirez, an agent said. Your confessions, your emails, your bank transfers, and now these documents you kindly brought with you. You can't do this. I have a family. You had one, I said, gently placing my hand on my belly. The following months were a whirlwind. Carlos and several executives from Constructora Del Valle were prosecuted. The investigation uncovered a fraud exceeding $100 million. Mr. Gonzalez, or rather, Special Agent Gonzalez, helped me protect my legally earned assets and retain the house, as I was able to prove that my share was paid for with honest income. Valeria made a deal with prosecutors. Turns out, she was never pregnant. That was part of Carlos's plan to manipulate me. 2 months after the arrest, I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl, Valentina. Mr. Gonzalez and his wife were at the hospital with me, offering support. "I have a proposal for you," he said while holding Valentina. "The advertising agency is real, even if it also serves as a front. We need a creative director, someone with your talent and integrity. You're offering me a promotion? After all of this, I'm offering you the chance to help expose more people like Carlos from the inside, using your legitimate skills." I looked at my daughter, thinking about all the families hurt by the fraud Carlos helped orchestrate. "I accept." Today, 5 years later, I run the agency's creative department. Our advertising work is top-notch, but our real impact goes far beyond that. We've helped uncover dozens of fraud schemes. Carlos is serving an 18-year sentence. Sometimes he writes letters asking for forgiveness, claiming he's changed. I keep them in a box for when Valentina is older and might have questions about her father. The house that was once a symbol of betrayal is now filled with laughter. Valentina is growing up happy, surrounded by love and strong values. Mr. Gonzalez has become a father figure to her, and his wife Maria is like a second grandmother. "Do you know why I chose you for this job?" Mr. Gonzalez asked me at Valentina's 5th birthday party. "For my advertising skills?" I replied, "For your integrity. Even in your worst moments, you never lost your dignity or your ethics." I looked out at my daughter playing in the yard, thinking about how different everything could have been if I had stayed silent and accepted Carlos's betrayal. "Sometimes," I said, "the worst moment of your life can become the beginning of something better." "And sometimes," added Mr. Gonzalez, "a simple advertising agency can change the world, one scam at a time." Valentina ran over to us, holding a drawing she made. "Look, Mommy! It's us catching the bad guys." I smiled and hugged her tight. My little girl already knew the difference between right and wrong, between truth and lies. And me! I learned that real strength isn't about hiding pain or accepting injustice. It's about standing up and fighting for what's right, no matter how hard the road may be. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories. See you in the next one.